Knowing your customer might be the most important thing that you can do for yourself and your business. And there's 3 questions you can ask that will really help you dive deeper than anybody else has ever gone. If you're looking to differentiate yourself in a market, if you really want a unique value proposition, if you want to set yourself so far ahead of your competitors that no one will ever be able to catch up to you, here's the problem with every industry. They tend to commoditize things beyond commodities. So if you've heard me talk about employees before, one of my biggest beefs with the business world is the fact that people treat employees as though they're commodities, because they're not. We treat customers like they're commodities too. And a commodity, incidentally, is anything that's interchangeable. You know, if you have an ear of corn and I have an ear of corn, and they're both healthy and roughly the same size, we could trade and neither of us would be better or worse off, right? That's a commodity. People aren't commodities. They can't be. People are miracles. And if you don't believe that, fine. At least acknowledge the fact that human beings are unbelievably unique in ways that are difficult to describe and define. That must be true of your customer. And so for entrepreneurs that tell me things like, oh no, I know my customer avatar. We have a whole customer demographic sheet and we understand age and location and temperament and what's in. I want to stop that in its tracks. And my ask of you is this, and this will fulfill on the promise that I made at the beginning of the video. If you really want to set yourself apart from everybody else, start falling in love with the people that you serve. And to be honest with you, if you don't love the people you serve, I don't think you deserve to serve them. I have an agency that serves Montessori schools. I'm obsessed with Montessori. I think Montessori is the education for peace. I think that Maria Montessori was one of the smartest humans who's ever existed. I think every child deserves to go to Montessori school. And I think if every kid went to a Montessori school, the world would be a better place. I believe that deeply. And so serving Montessori schools is easy for me, because I know Montessorians. The average Montessorian is a 50-year-old female educator who's terrified of technology and has purchased an old house and rehabbed it and trains roughly 30 kids, right? That's the demographic. But that's not enough. That's not enough for me to really know my market. I know that Montessorians, they have this whole collection of materials. They call them works. And the kids, when they learn using these works. And what's really interesting is they're all very, very, very specific. Montessorians know that a child needs to learn to use their pincers before they can learn most other things. So for children that are, up to 18 months, all of the materials they're using require kids to be able to use their pincers. And there's dozens, if not hundreds of them. And it's just this amazing exercise to begin to see these people that have understood children so much on a granular level of analysis. They realize what kids need in order to progress. And what's cool about me knowing that is there's a Montessori material called a pink tower. And it's this pink cube with a smaller pink cube on top of it, and a smaller pink cube on top of that, and a smaller pink cube on top of that, all the way up into this pyramid. And the top of the tower is this little teeny tiny pink cube that's 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter. It always gets lost. In every Montessori classroom, it gets lost because some little kid puts it in their pocket, or God forbid, swallows it, or it's hard to keep track of 1 centimeter cubes, I imagine, especially in a room full of children. So what does that mean? That means that when we're doing our marketing, I like to send lumpy mail. Shout out to Joe Polish. And if you're not familiar with lumpy mail, it's something that you send in the mail that has something in the envelope, because nobody throws it away. They're all curious about what it is. It's a great, great, great marketing strategy. We send lumpy mail, and the lump is a pink cube. And at the top of our letter, we just say, hey, I'm sure that this is missing from one of your classrooms. I figured you could use another one while I have your attention. And then I segue into my pitch. But what have I done? I've shown the Montessorians that I know them. And I don't just know them and that, hey, I know you're a 50-year-old female educator who's probably terrified of technology, because that's demographic data, right? What does that do? That generalizes them to a point that's dehumanizing. It's like, hey, I know you fit in this big bucket of humanity. Maybe if I shake this bucket hard enough, a customer will come out. Instead, I'm able to say, hey, I realize that the pink cube is probably gone from your classroom. And the resonance is instant. It's instant. But I only got there because I cared enough to really dive that deep. You have to love your customer. Figure out who it is that you're serving. There's 3 levels of analysis I'm going to ask you to pursue. What are their needs? What do they have to have? Even, and this is really important, even if they don't want it. Montessorians hate technology, but they have to have a CRM. And I know that. What are their needs? What is the thing that they need? If you're helping people lose weight, people who want to lose weight love to talk about exercise. That's actually really kind of exciting. It's fun. And certain exercises are, they're interesting and they're engaging and I work up a sweat. They hate to talk about nutrition, but they need it. What are their needs? What are their wants? What are the things they actually want, right? What is the thing that they would get excited about moving into? What are their fears? What are they afraid of? And the fear, by the way, the deeper you can go with the fear, the more you're really going to A, fall in love with this person, and B, be able to serve them. If you know somebody's needs, if you know somebody's wants, if you know somebody's fears, you are now equipped to serve them in a way that nobody else in your market is going to be able to serve them, because everybody else is just shaking the demographic bucket and trying to see if somebody falls out. And you've put yourself in a position of really understanding them. This requires a few things that I actually think are prerequisites for a successful business anyway. This requires that you niche down. You can't fall in love with somebody unless you know who that person is. So you have to now define your niche. And your niche doesn't need to be myopic in scope, by the way. I had a Google Ads agency. So who did I help? Everybody who ran paid traffic inside of Google Ads. That's a significant number of people. And yet I was able to identify needs, wants, fears. I was able to do that with real estate investors. I've been able to do that with people who use high level. I'm able to do that with entrepreneurs who want executive assistants. I'm able to do that with people who join my mastermind. Needs, wants, and fears. And as you identify needs, wants, and fears, it puts you in a position to not just love them, but to serve them. And that's how you're going to set yourself apart. That's the key differentiator. That's the value proposition. Because when you really love somebody, you don't do what's best for you, you do what's best for them, which, by the way, makes you way more money. So it's enlightened self-interest. People are important. And I know we all believe that spiritually and philosophically, but it doesn't show up in the boardroom as much as it should. And so I think that this is a really worthy exercise for you to undertake. Go learn who your customer is really. Learn who they are on a human level. Learn their needs, their wants, their fears. And I promise you that's only ever going to equip you to serve them better and to set yourself apart from your competition. I hope this video was helpful. I'll see you in the next one.